Yes, suppose you're given this data here, and you're told to generate a dashboard for it. So it is very simple. We are going to generate the data already is in pivot tables. So as you can see, this is the information that I've converted into this pivot table. But now that is not important. What is important is how to generate dashboard. Very simple. One, after putting this information into pivot table, so you can see I have my pivot table 1 here that I can use to do analysis. I need to add other sheets with this pivot table. So for example, here I've added another one, and adding that is very simple. I want to, for example, I have this pivot table 2. I want to add it to another. I want to add another pivot table. So I will press Control, then drag. So I will press Control, then drag this pivot table. Control, drag this pivot table, add it there. You can see, and now I have my pivot table 3. I can as well add another pivot table. So I will drag this pivot table here. I will press Control, then drag it. Control, drag that pivot table, and there I am. So I have pivot table 4. So I have pivot table, the first one, the second one, the third one, and the fourth one. So I have 4 pivot tables. Now let me start preparing my dashboard. The first representation, I want to analyze revenue by country. So I will go to the first dashboard that I have. So let me write this one. Let me add table 5. Or table 5, I want to rename it. Table 5, let me rename table 5. Table 5, so our table 5 is the dashboard we are looking for. We'll simply write dashboard. That is where we'll be copying our analysis or our graphs. So let me start with the first pivot table. So we want to analyze revenue by country. So let me start with country. I will click country, drag it to rows like that. I will pick country, drag it to rows, then there it is. So our country is here. Let me zoom it a little bit so that it can be visible. So after picking country and dragging it to rows, it appears here. Then because we are analyzing revenue by country, so let me go to revenue. So we click revenue. Revenue is that one. Drag it down here to values, and there it is. So we want to represent this data using under revenue. Let me use line graph. So I will come back to insert, click insert, then come to chart, click chart. Then do you want to use line? Let me click line and see. So under line they have given me this, so let me click that one, and this is what I have. Now I can write, as you can see we have sum of revenue, we have country, we have total, and all that. So I want to write the title for this. So I will come back to chart tools, click chart tools, then come back on the left, click add chart, then chart title, then it directly me to above chart, and here it is. So I want to write this revenue by country, or revenue per country. Let me write revenue per country like that, and there I go. So revenue per country, sorry, revenue per country, it has disappeared. Charts, chart tools. So let me click chart tools, it has disappeared. So then chart title, about chart, revenue per country. So this one was revenue per country, revenue per country. So let me delete this. Let me delete that and this. So that is the title. I can highlight it and change the font color. Let me go with standard red. And I can, let me go the body. Let me go with calibri. Then that is it. So I want to hide this column. So you will click one. I want to hide that. So I will click there. Sum of revenue. Then right click. Hide all field buttons, and there, that is that. So this is the first analysis. I can drag it and drag it outside there. Then what we are going to do is to click that, then press Ctrl C to copy it. After we've copied that, we are going to go to our dashboard. Click there, dashboard. So I'm going to paste it here. So I will click CV. That is it. That is the first item in our dashboard. Good. So let us analyze sales per country. I will go back to the second or the third pivot table. The third pivot table, I want to analyze sales per country. So I will click sales country, drag it to rows. That is it. As you can see, it is there. So let me zoom it a little bit so that it can be visible. Let me zoom it a little bit so that it can be visible. So we have country. We want to analyze sales per country. So let me deal with sales. Units sold, sales. Or let me analyze profit. Profit. So profit per country, it will be drag that profit to the column there. So this profit, after dragging it to the column section, it will produce this one. It will appear here. So we can represent this one using, let me use a bar to represent that. So I will come back to insert, chart. Then it will give me options. So in this case, I want to use the bar chart, and that is it. Let me use column. What of column chart? So let me use column chart. Let me go by column chart. So I will click that, and there is my column chart. So let me add the title. Let me add the title. So I will go back to chart tools, then add elements, then chart title above. Then I will have, so this is profit per country. So profit per country, So I will have my profit per country. Let me do away this one. So let me do away this one. Profit per country. So I can change the font color. I can change the font color. Change the font color, make it standard red. Then caliber or the body, let me make it value. Then let it be italic. So we have that. If I want to hide these columns, I will click one of the field, right click, then hide all field button. I have hidden that. What is there is I need to copy the whole of this and paste it to our dashboard. So I will Control C, then move to our dashboard here down here in one of the tables of the dashboard and come and paste it here. So Control V. So you can see we have the item there. So let me drag it, let me arrange it so that it can be good in our dashboard, or it can look nice in the dashboard. So I will put it somewhere there. Let me reduce this one a little bit so that they can appear there. And there is the total profit per country. What is remaining, maybe we can, in our dashboard, we might decide to include sum of revenue and profit per country, or we might decide to look at date, revenue, profit per country. So let me add another item. So I have used, okay, even the first pivot table I've not explored that. So let me use even the first pivot table. As long as you've created as many pivot tables as you have. Let me zoom this one a little bit. So I will zoom it like that. Let me make it good. So we have this pivot table here. In this pivot table, let us analyze, let us look at sum of revenue and profit per country. So revenue, already the countries are there. Revenue, so we'll click revenue, bring them to value. Then I have profit, bring that profit to value again, and I will have such information. Then I might decide to use this one. I might decide to use, let me insert chart. So chart in this case, let me go for line. So underline, let me choose this one so you can see. So under this, we are going to give it a title, total sales and profit of different. So the title, I can decide to come back to chart tools, then chart tools, chart element. In this case, I want to add chart title above, then it will be here. So this is profit and sales per country. That is revenue and profit per country. So let me analyze, let me delete this one per country, so I can decide to change. I can decide to change the font of this. And sorry. Can decide to change, to put that to standard red. then italics, then under these fields I right click, hide all the fields buttons on the chart, and here is my chart. So you can see we have the profit, the pink line is showing the sum of profit per country, then the blue line is showing the sum of revenue per country. So after doing that, you can control, then copy, then come back to your dashboard. Come back to your dashboard, then we will paste it here. So we want to paste it, Control V, here it is. So let me move it to this point here. So let me move it to that. Let me move it to that, like that. So I can decide to arrange them like that. So I can decide to arrange them like that. Good. So let me do the last analysis. The last analysis, let me look at total sales and profit of different products per country. Let me look at the pivot table that I've not exhausted. Pivot table. This one. Now this one we've not exploited this pivot table. So under this you want to look at the countries. I will drag the country to country. We will have that. After dragging it, automatically it will lead you to that. And you zoom it. So we want to analyze what? We want to analyze. Let me drag the date. What's the date? Date. Then revenue, total revenue, total cost, total profit. So that is the information. So I can decide to insert, represent this that I'm using. So I will insert. In this case, let me go with the first chart. So this chart is there showing the revenue and profit. So this one is talking about revenue, cost, and profit. So add the title. I can decide to choose any kind of the chart I want, but because of time, let me add the title. So chart title is this one. The chart is about revenue, comma, cost, and profit per country. Then I can decide to delete this one. So after reaching there, let us change the title so that let us change the font color. Let's change the font color to be standard red. Then italics. Then body should be that is it. So you can decide and decide to put it there. So let me hide this columns. You click at one of the columns, then hide button. So I have this one. What am I going to do? I'm going to click this. Let me click the whole of that, then press Ctrl C. Then after copying it, come to your dashboard. I want to drop it somewhere there. Ctrl V, and there we go. So we have our dashboard there. And then let me put it there. So and that is an example of a dashboard. So we've generated a dashboard. This one is the dashboard we were looking for. So you can analyze as many information as possible. In this dashboard, you can include as many information as possible. So this one is our dashboard. Thank you. Thank you.